Appreciation Day, Day 1, Iron Man. Starting off my top 10 list pretty strong with the character who some people claim the MCU died alongside, which is just stupid. Who in their right minds doesn't like Iron Man? Insane people, that too. Tony is such a narcissistic prick, but is played so damn well by RDJ that you can't help but love him. His constant quips are a highlight of almost every appearance he has, right from the first Iron Man all the way to Endgame. This character isn't just a barrel of laughs, as he has his dark sides as well. PTSD from the first Avengers is a big one, done so because I assume Disney didn't want to deal with his major alcoholism from the comics. So much so he created Ultron just because he didn't want another alien threat, again a change from Hank Pym. Plus, let's not forget he did the unthinkable and sacrificed himself to win the day in Endgame, a move you would have not expected when watching the first Iron Man. And on top of all of this, every one of his suits is a banger, even the ones that get less than a minute of screen time in Iron Man 3. The Mark V is still the best though, but I'll admit that's probably because it transforms out of a goddamn suitcase.
Day 2, Captain America. Sam Wilson, Captain America. I know I just said he's on the list as Captain America, but I would have just kept Sam here if it was just as Falcon. Sam is just so damn charismatic. Like Iron Man, every single appearance he's had across the MCU has been a joy for me. I think that stems from Anthony Mackie being just a delight as both the character and, well, just as himself in reality. I had no idea who the character was when I first watched Cap 2, but I liked him so much I decided to go ahead and do my own research on Falcon, which I then discovered was when he inevitably becomes Captain America in the comics. Instantly wanted him in the MCU as Captain America, and when he showed up, the suit was almost identical. It was just perfect. No offense to Steve Rogers' Cap, but Sam is just a better encapsulating of America to me. In The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he says the line, "We built this country, bled for it. I'm not going to let anybody tell me I can't fight for it." And goddamn it did that hit me, and I'm neither black or American. I cannot wait for his movie to come out, but until then, I can at least watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier again. Plus, the dude has wings. Wings!
Marvel Appreciation Day, Day 8. Alright, Kate Bishop. Let's just get this out of the way right now. Yes, Kate Bishop is on this list mostly because I'm a frickin' simp for Haley Steinfeld. But Kate doesn't get 8. Oh, hey, that rhymes. Because of the simping alone. Oh no. Kate was the character I was first excited for when the Hawkeye series was first announced. Partially because of the simping. But much like Sam as Cap, Kate was a character I was aware of for a while before she was even first introduced to the MCU. In the series, she is just great. She is so bubbly and optimistic about every character she meets, and her first reaction to meeting Clint is how every Marvel fan would react to meeting one of the actors in person. Not me, though. I'd be worse. My enjoyment of her only peaks when she actually gets to shoot stuff and actually does almost as well as Clint, again proving how much her and the OG Hawkeye work well together. And it expands even further when she meets Yelena. Their friendship is just so pure and it mirrors the Clint and Nat friendship so well. Apparently Kate is a major player in the saga going forward and I thoroughly look forward to it. Yes, I'm aware that sounds like simping. No, I don't care.
Day 4 or Day 6, depending on whichever way the counting is going at this point, I don't remember. Anyway, everyone's favourite Marvel hero who is just a dad just trying to be funny. And somehow succeeding at it. It's Ant-Man. I'm aware there's been 3 Ant-Man men in the comics, but Scott Lang is just the best out of the trio, especially considering one was incredibly abusive, with some aspects of that appearing in MCU Hank Pym, and the other being an absolute perv. Scott in the MCU is just an absolute delight. In every appearance, you can tell he's just there either having fun or is dragged along. His humour is definitely helped by Paul Rudd being a treasure in reality. One of my favourite aspects of his character is that he just seriously does not seem qualified to have the powers that have been granted to him by Hank. I actually think that in Ant-Man and the Wasp, it feels like he's supposed to be the sidekick to the much more experienced Hope Van Dyne, otherwise known as the Wasp. Another aspect I love about his character is his relationship with his daughter. It's just so wholesome, and I really, truly hope we see more of it in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Plus, his powers are just so unique to his side of the MCU. No MCU character at this time has his sorts of powers, besides, of course, the Wasp and Stature when she inevitably turns up. And, of course, the answer cute. Rest in peace, Anthony. You will be missed. Now it's time to talk about that one superhero that everybody has on their top 10 list somewhere. Peter Parker has had one of the most consistent personalities through all of his comic, TV, and movie appearances, leading to him having some of the most controversial discussions about which incarnation is best. Every Spider-Man has their merits, with some being almost perfect in their characterization, and others being, well... Yeah, I don't like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Fight me, you'll win! Peter Parker being the average kid who just happened to get bitten by the spider solidifies him as the perfect state that almost everybody can perceive themselves as. Scripts are almost always amazing, with my favourite set of quips coming from either the Amazing Spider-Man movies or the Spectacular Spider-Man TV series. Still waiting on my Season 3, by the way. I enjoy the fact that he always creates his own tech and is often broke. My only exception to that is Tom Holland's Peter Parker, but to me, it just makes the most sense story-wise. Again, fight me. I can find enjoyment in almost every one of his suits across the years, with, in particular, my favourites being the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, the big-time stealth suit, the upgraded suit from Far From Home, and Tobey Maguire's black suit, which I prefer more than his normal suit. Fight me. Speaking of the black suit, I adore the black suit arc, and I cannot wait for the MCU to tackle that. Probably helps that my favourite Marvel villain is Venom. But you may be asking yourself, who's my favourite Peter/Spidey? It's none of these nerds. It's Yuri Lowenthal for the PS4 game. Okay, now for today's appreciation post. Scarlet Witch. Low-key scared me a little bit in WandaVision. And then again in Multiverse of Madness. You see, the scariest part about that movie was the writing. I genuinely did not care about Scarlet Witch as a character until she just absolutely wiped the floor with Thanos in Endgame. Instantly became... Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Instantly became one of my favourite adventures. I love Wanda because of her absolutely insane power levels. I will forever maintain she could go up against 4 of the most powerful characters in the MCU, no problem. I mean, she did successfully kill 838 Captain Marvel, and nearly Doctor Strange as well. Multiple times. But before Wanda was a crazed maniac obsessed with finding her fake kids, she was an amazingly written character, to the point that after watching the Endgame scene, I started paying more attention to her as a whole. She is such a freaking tragic character. Dead parents, dead brother, dead husband, which has happened about 3 or 4 times now, doesn't take away the fact that it's so sad, she can't live inside of Westview without inadvertently hurting innocent people, and she can't live outside of it because of the aforementioned reasons. But also, because outside of it, her kids just don't exist. Not only has she lost her home thanks to Stark, blew up a building in Lagos, leading to everyone calling her monster, was imprisoned on the raft for helping Cap, which, by the way, I have a very nice series that I really like, that Art Dreykov is somehow extracted her powers and converted into the mist that mind controls the widows. Not important, and after all that, she gets snapped away. Though it appears as though she's like the only one who wanted it, judging by her face. And to prove how tragic of a character she really is, Westview literally happened because of her grief. And how was this grief handled in Multiverse of Madness? Screw you, Michael Waldron! Just missing out on my podium placements for my appreciation posts, we have Black Panther. And before you ask, yes, I do see the irony in doing these posts to build up to Wakanda Forever, but still not having Black Panther as my number 1 character. To be completely honest, when it comes to Black Panther as a character, most of my enjoyment of them comes from Wakanda around them. I freaking love the fictional country's fusion of real African cultures and futuristic tech. I love every aspect of Wakanda's cultures, from its rituals to determine who takes the throne, to the way that the throne is given the Black Panther abilities. Aside from some shoddy CGI work in the final battle of the first movie, I consider the freaking first Black Panther movie to be almost practically perfect. And I am so glad that Ryan Coogler is doing the sequel. Please, for the love of God, do not let Black Panther Wakanda Forever be bad. If it's bad, I'm going to cry. As for Black Panther, I freaking love all of the renditions of the suit. Even the Wakanda Forever suit, which is clearly worn by Shuri. That suit did not initially appeal to me at the beginning, but has definitely grown on me over time, especially as we've seen more looks at it in the TV spots. The claws on the suit just being retractable is so goddamn awesome, and I pretend to do it almost as much as I do my freaking fake web shooting. And the shockwave ability. The shockwave ability is just so cool, and it's just the way it absorbs energy and just redirects it is just chef's kiss. The Civil War suit is just the perfect Black Panther suit, and I just wish it was utilized more in the Black Panther solo movie. And of course, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman.
You will always be the Marvel community's king, and are a big reason why I love this character to begin with. Getting bronze place is Daredevil, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that nobody told me how good the Netflix series was. Seriously, I did not give a single damn about Daredevil until I watched the show. It is ridiculously good. I wish I had seen the show before watching No Way Home, so that cameo hit me with a full brunt. Now that my little rant is over, let's get into why I actually like the Devil of Hell's Kitchen so much. Starting with the obvious, I love the way Matt fights is like he isn't blind at all. I loved the enhanced senses side of him. I also like that his fighting style is really awesome, and I love the way he uses the billy clubs, seeing as how that means he's adept at using poles in both of his personas. I think every suit has its positives. They're not all perfect, but take the black suit. Whilst it doesn't resemble a devil at all, where are the horns? It very much fits the tone of the show, and I love that it's the only suit that Matt uses in the 3rd season. The red suit is iconic. It also helps that it's my favourite suit for the character. And the gold suit. I will forever have a soft spot for it, given it was the first suit shown in the main MCU. That helmet. The helmet tease. I love how much Charlie Cox cares about the character. I mean, just look at this man sitting in his room with just Daredevil pop vinyls. He's so happy. It's so wholesome. I love that every one of Matt's relationships seems legit. The best relationships he's had are definitely between him, Karen Page, and Jennifer Walters. I don't think we knew Claire long enough in the show for me to form a connection, to the point that I had to actually look up what her name was, because she left such little impact. And Elektra really just rubbed me the wrong way. No clue why. But by far, between Karen and Jen to me just has the better relationship with him. It's so wholesome, and I really hope we see more of it in the future. And Born Again, perhaps. Please. Fair warning. This is not only an appreciation post for the character, but for the show as well. Because it is the best MCU installment to date. Though this may change with Wakanda Forever coming out tomorrow. Advanced screenings, baby! I literally had no idea who or what Moon Knight was, aside from the incredible random bullshit Go meme. That all changed on the 18th of January 2022. Because upon the release of that trailer, I needed to know everything about who this guy was and what the hell was going on. Just ask any of my close friends and family what I was like when it came out. Which leads me to my first reason for loving this characters, because, the fact that he has DID. I've always been fascinated by this condition, and the way the brain can just somehow create an entire new person despite already being within a person's body. And Mark, Steven, and Jake just bring together that sense so well, and that not a single one of them is demonized. Unlike some other characters in fiction and the general stereotype thanks to movies like Split. This brings me to the release of the show. It beat out Black Panther in terms of enjoyment in one episode, which was a huge deal for me, given my love for the movie isn't particularly hidden. Again, Wakanda Forever comes out tomorrow for us with the advanced screenings. Whoop whoop. It's impossible to relax. Oscar Isaac portrayed all 3 of the Khonshu's trio, which is what I refer to the lads as, alters almost flawlessly, and made me think at times that I was genuinely watching 3 different actors. Out of the 3 alters on the show, Stephen Grant is my clear favourite. I love that Stephen has genuinely no idea what is happening in the first episode, even after he switches to Mark. Stephen Grant was so funny in every instance he was on screen, probably because I naturally find British people hilarious. And the little Poles, the little Poles line that he delivers when he first pulls them out of his coat is just, it gets me every time. And on top of that, Mr. Knight's suit is honestly one of the best in the MCU. It looks so comic accurate and is quite literally what my formal attire is based on. That's not to say that the other alters aren't without their merits. Mark did not affect me as a character until the heartbreak of an episode that was episode 5. It is, without a doubt, home to the darkest scene in the entire MCU. From that moment, I began liking Mark retroactively, mainly out of empathy, and that everything he went through in the series was just a result of an abusive mother and a manipulative god. though Khonshu was a great character. And his suit is also just amazing. The hooked hood, the crescent cape, the throwing stars that are moons, it's all perfection. And Jake. He only had one scene. But I love the mystery that surrounded him in the series, and the way that the fandom came together to try and figure out who the third alter was. Though the people who knew the character knew who it was ahead of time. Please, Marvel, I am begging you, I need a season 2 to this show more than I need any other season 2. It is just... the show is perfect. Miles Morales has not always been my favourite Marvel character. I knew of him, and I was aware that he becomes the second Spider-Man, but I never really cared about him all that much. But in recent years, he has become my absolute favourite superhero of all time. His style of comedy and quips is just different enough from the Pete Spidey for me to picture myself as him more than anyone else, which is kind of ironic. Hell, the PlayStation Miles Morales game isn't the best story-wise, but the heart in that game and Miles are just done beautifully. His suits are always, and have always, been better than Peter Parker's. Probably helps that his suit is more often not mostly black, and if you remember my Peter Parker post, you know how much I love the black suits. But the black is perfectly balanced out by the red, and seriously, he always just looks sick as hell in those suits. The spider powers across the entire spider gallery is always amazing, but Miles having them just feels right. I can honestly see this rendition of Spider-Man just climbing walls at home when he's bored. But where Miles really gets me is his ability to camouflage. That was awesome to first find out, and is still ridiculously awesome to know. Plus, it makes sense for him to have it whilst other spiders don't, because he was bitten by a different spider. And I think his power to turn invisible also resonates with me on a personal level. But I will get to that later. His bioelectricity, or Venom powers as the PS4 game refers to them as, are also really cool, and much like the invisibility thing, it makes sense. Though I will admit, they don't influence my love for him any more than I already do. But now I think it's time we get into why I really love this character. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. A movie that is in contention for not just my favourite superhero movie, but favourite movie of all time, period. This was the movie that first got me into the character of Miles Morales. But why does this movie make me love the guy more? I can tell you it's not because of the film's amazing comic book appearance, which is honestly one of the most visually stunning things I've ever seen. It's not the soundtrack, which is again awesome, and I love that it's something that Miles would 100% listen to. It's not the film's comedy, which is also great. Hell, it's not even because Haley Steinfeld is in the thing. Because in all honesty, I always forget she is in it until Gwen appears. Into the Spider-Verse made me love Miles Morales as much as I do, because of Miles himself. To me, Miles is so relatable, and as of recent, literally since the last time I watched the movie, I finally figured out why. The phrase, anyone can wear a mask, is repeated quite a few times in the movie. And I think it's because it plays on Miles' struggle of self-doubt. Something that I also struggle with heavily. So, when he almost gives up in the movie's second act, it really hurts just to watch that, just because it feels like me. But no matter how many times you get hit, you always get back up. That line is something I say to myself after a failure, because it resonates with me. And clearly with Miles as well, as given that he gets back up after being beaten down by Kingpin, just because he sees his father and is reminded of his family. Speaking of fathers, want to know where my love for Miles Morales in this movie really became solidified? It's not when he's Spider-Manning, not the leap of faith scene, which is so damn good. Hell, it's not even when he comes back and defeats Kingpin. It's not even a fight scene in general. Miles' conversation with his father in the dorm room. Through the door, after the other spider people and Pig have left.
The spark in you, it's amazing. It's why I push you, but it's yours. Whatever you choose to do with it, you'll be great.
Miles' relationship with his father is identical to me with my father. By that I mean it feels like he's doing... By that I mean it feels like the dad's being too hard on him at times, but you know that it's coming from a place of love, and that he knows that Miles will do great things regardless of what happens. So yes, I am a white guy whose favourite superhero is black. And I will continue to cosplay this character, not because of race, but because I see myself in him more than I do any other character, maybe ever. I am very much looking forward to Across the Spider-Verse, and pray that Miles is how he is in the original movie.